Welcome to Honest Car Reviews and say hi to the Kia EV3. It has been long wait for the Kia EV3 to replace the Kia Niro. This is the baby to the EV9. You can clearly see it. This is just a shrunken EV9, but a quite interesting color and with really competitive specs. This is the 81.4 kilowatt hour battery, meaning over 600 of claimed range. The power is sent to the front wheels, about 200 horsepower. Nothing accelerating, but we'll probably get a GT in the future. Welcome to the rear of the EV3, and you see further similarities to the EV9. The shape is quite unique. Kia talked a lot about it being very aerodynamic in the design, meaning that it is sloping towards the rear here. The lights you see, it's classic EV9, or not classic, but it is EV9. And then you have the rear boot. 460 liters, a huge leap. It can fit quite a lot of stuff actually, and of course you can fold down the rear seats in the 40/60 configuration. However, I do not really like huge lips. That's just something that I don't like, but of course everyone to their own. The undercarriage of this car is quite unique. They talk about 3D undercarriage. What does that mean? Well, it's aerodynamic, trying to be as smooth and as flat as possible. Kia EV3 has a lot of features regarding charging, vehicle to load, vehicle to grid, vehicle to everything. And of course everything is controlled here. Max charging speed just over 120 kilowatt, which is not that much, giving a 10 to 80% charging time of just around 30 minutes. Nothing majorly good, but nothing majorly bad either. And here we find a little trunk, 25 liters, which means that you can only fit your charging cables. But that is good enough. You have your space for your charging cables. But that is basically everything that you find in here. Inside the Kia EV3 you are met with even more EV9, specifically the infotainment system, the digital gauge cluster, and this control for the climate control. There's some things that are unique, specifically this little table where you can control the 360-degree camera system, hill descent, parking mode, or you can automatically park this car. Other than that, new steering wheel. It is chopped on the top and on the lower part. You have the drive mode selects as well, but you can also go through the infotainment system, which is quite deep and quite complicated. That is often the case with electric cars, futuristic cars, tech-heavy cars, that it takes some time to get used to them. The seats are really nice, very soft. This mesh fabric on the top here is extremely soft. I really like it, specifically for the GT line, of course. They are ventilated. Kia has put a lot of thought, engineering and time into making the interior as environmentally friendly as possible. So vegan materials, recycled materials from the Ocean Cleanup, which is quite an interesting company that you should definitely look at. And of course the general design. It is futuristic, it is tech heavy, but it also works and it feels solid in how it is designed and engineered. Kia told me that this is a B segment car going towards the C segment. So they are saying that you should be able to use this even though you are 5 people. 5 people might be a stretch. However, the lower fire support, that is very common in electric cars. It is an afterthought. The rear seats becomes an afterthought, and well, I do fit in terms of all the dimensions. I have almost enough knee space and some foot space, but the low fire support and the bench, it's very short. It is soft and I do fit, but there's something to complain about. A lot of plastic, but it does feel quite solid in here. One thing that I should also complain about is the panoramic sunroof. There's only one in the front, nothing back here, so it becomes quite dark, especially with this dark tone of everything, even though you have some lighter materials here. But driving the new Kia EV3, and what does it feel like? Well, it feels very mature. The interior with a lot of tech, a lot of details taken from the EV9, the softer suspension, the quite soft steering, together with a very quiet interior, makes this feel like an upscale driving experience. Often electric cars are quite stiff in the suspension. This is not that at all. The difference between the Kia Niro and this EV3, which will replace the Niro, is obvious. This is much more futuristic, much different in the design. It follows with the EV9 and the EV6, that's for sure. It's a new chapter, both inside and outside. Of course, there are things to complain about. As always with new cars, and especially electric cars and electric cars that come from Asia, there are a lot of beeps. And you have to cancel them every time that you get into the car. That's not Kia's fault, not car manufacturers' fault in general. It is because of legislation, because of laws that forces the car manufacturers to have warnings for basically everything. So does this compete with the Volvo EX30, the Volvo XC40 and the Megane E-Tech, that this is a direct competitor to? Well, this does feel like a more upscale car. It feels like a very different car as well. This feels like a Kia in a good way. It's distinctly different, distinctly futuristic, but not being too much of that I need to be futuristic for the sake of it. All the important values are there: the range, the charging speed, an okay and an attractive price, which makes me think that this will be a very good selling product in Kia's lineup and for this segment as well. If Kia can follow up on this incredibly well engineered and good EV3, they will have an incredibly well stacked model program for buyers to choose from, all the way from the biggest EV9 to the smallest EV2, and maybe even an electric sports car. Kia's way of electrifying their model lineup has been clear from the start, and it seems that they are succeeding at it.